Welcome to Wartrace, Tennessee. This is Nick from Stridewise.com, where we look at casual and durable menswear and footwear, a whole lot of leather stuff. And I'm very honored today to be at Legacy Leathers with Edwin Gallun of Gallun Leathers, who is a very storied and expert leather worker and tanner of all kinds of different animals. Thank you for coming on the channel, Ed.
Thanks for having me.
We are here today to talk about calfskin and cowhide leathers. It's a question that I get asked a lot, and I'm just so grateful to be able to be here with someone who actually works this stuff day in and day out and can bust some of the myths out there, because I think there's a lot of stuff that people don't understand that you can do with leather, and also how leather performs relative to how the leather is tanned and made and everything else, which is oftentimes more important than what animal it's from. So all calfskin is a byproduct of the veal industry. Is that about right?
Absolutely, yep.
Uh-huh.
The reality is it's just the age of the animal. So when we were in the industry of producing primarily calf, veal was a big part of the diet. Cattle hide was obviously part of it too, but veal was probably a 50-50 mix in comparison to what it is today. There's demand for veal meat. You know, a bone-in veal chop is a customary standard ordering product in most steakhouses. So it's always going to be there. The veal is not produced especially for the leather. It is literally a meat byproduct, just like cattle hide.
Yeah, how old are they?
Typically, these animals are probably about 6 months old. It's just before the meat changes to red meat. Traditionally, I think most people confuse baby calf, which is a 7 to 9 foot skin or smaller, and those are very, very lightweight. Those cannot hit that weight, but the veal producers don't let them go that small now. I mean, it is available, but it's very, very small percentage. Mm-hmm. So the bulk of the commercially raised calf now are quite a bit larger than what people would imagine. So in a square footage scenario, a cattle hide sided will be anywhere from 18 to 25 feet. My whole hides are 17 to 22 feet.
The first thing that I learned about calfskin was that because it is a young animal, the skin fibers, they're more tightly packed. Is that the way to put it? Like, yeah, it's more dense because it hasn't grown up and stretched out and become a
correct. It's not spready. It's very tight fibered. So the benefits of a younger animal: cleaner grain, hasn't been around long enough to catch a lot of damage. So it has a very fine grain. So it lends itself to really elegant product.
There's this thought, of course, that calfskin must be more delicate and easier to tear and so on than cowhide because it's a baby. But I've heard, like, as far as tensile strength goes, calfskin is actually comparable, if not better, because it's actually more densely packed together. Is that right?
That's an accurate representation. Now, with calfskin, you tend to want to feature that fine grain, so there's a lot of anilinity in the finishes, almost no pigment, because you're not trying to cover or hide anything. You can accentuate the natural characters of the leather without open scars, scratches, fly bites. They're very young animals, so they tend to have a very, very clean grain.
What a lot of people might not know is that a big part of your job, and also the job of the folks at the shoe factory, the bag factory that cut the leather, is that a lot of leather gets discarded because animals have scratches and scars all over them from just like being animals. And a benefit of calfskin is it doesn't tend to have a whole bunch of all those sorts of scratches and scars from its life. And also the appearance is a bit more consistent because it hasn't grown and stretched out in certain parts and everything. And so you can use more of the leather.
Typically your yields are much higher on calf than they are on cattle hide.
Which one's more expensive though?
Calfskin. And part of that is the current state of the meat industry is veal is just not eaten as regularly as beef, so it's a smaller scale, ergo it's kind of a rarer product. Now, in my opinion, you make some of that back up in your yield gain when you're cutting a much cleaner skin. The predominant idea when I was taught in this business was you go out and buy a pair of men's calf dress shoes, and you took care of them. You could have them resold, and if you took care of this, it could last you a lifetime. That mentality has changed in the past 25, 30 years. They become more disposable, you know, and that's just marketing. And unfortunately, calfskin has lost its luster as far as a premium product, even though it still is, and I still offer it, and I really like it. It does tend to be more expensive.
Calfskin definitely seems to be the go-to, like the default leather for dressier, nicer footwear. If you're wearing a suit, you're better off getting calfskin shoes. Why is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the reality is that it's a much finer grain. I mean,
like it doesn't wrinkle as much.
Yeah, I mean, the finite hair follicle is much tighter because of the age of the animal. You get into an older animal, the hair follicle is literally more spread out and more pronounced. I mean, it's as simple as that.
What is box calf leather, and why is that the one that people talk about the most when it comes to dressy shoes, or the best dressy shoes?
In my 40-year plus career in the leather business, French box calf was kind of the preeminent target for calfskin. So that is a full grain, very aniline piece of leather exclusively used for high-end, mostly dress shoes, but I've seen it in belts, I've seen it in bags, I've seen it in a variety of things, where it's full aniline, full grain, just nothing's been done to enhance it, or hide anything in it is the traditional dress leather.
But if someone gets box calf, how does that differ to like these leathers here? Like what's it look like? How's it different in its appearance?
If you get it in black, it's going to look like a very traditional, smooth finish, elegant. Could go with a tuxedo. You could wear it with a regular business suit. It'll just be a very traditional, high quality look.
I just always come across this definition of it's got a lot of aniline in it and it holds its color well and it's like a little shinier than usual. And I don't really know what aniline means, and I don't know if that definition holds.
Lack of pigment in the finish. I mean, when leathers are semi-aniline, that means they've added pigment to level or improve the grain so it looks more uniform. When you're talking a full aniline or pure aniline, no pigments. No pigments in the finish. We're not hiding anything.
A lot of people might not understand that, it can be pretty tough and can look great on casual leathers as well. Why does this look so much more cool and casual than some people might associate with calfskin?
Well, the top one here that we're looking at is our cognac shrunken. So it's actually, we in the drum, we actually shock it when it's in the pickle, and we use a glutaraldehyde chemical to actually create a pucker in the leather, which just accentuates all the natural features that are already in the leather. And then on this particular instance, we're just rolling wax and hitting it with heat, and it gives a nice high-low. So if you look, we get this. It's an incredibly casual leather, but we're putting it on a calfskin, so
and people don't know that you can get shrunken leathers, and a benefit of that is that it's more leather per square inch, right, than you would.
It actually gets a little thicker because we're concentrating the density of the leather. And,
right.
There's a high low, so there's a tip and a valley.
And it also looks a bit more like you've zoomed in on it because it's shrunken, and so the grain gets a bit more pronounced with.
Correct. I mean, can we get similar looks in cattle? Sure, but this makes a very different look. Cattle fiber is much more spread out wide. This is very, very tight and gives a much different look.
If it's like a very tough cowhide boot, it'd be like maybe 2.5 millimeters thick or something, 2.5 millimeters. Mm-hmm. And you can make calfskin that thick.
Yes.
And if I've decided that I want some casual calfskin leather boots, how thick should I be looking for? How many ounces?
Ideal weight for most of these is 1.2 to 1.4 millimeters or 1.3 to 1.5, but we can make specialty retans that can actually plump heavier. So we can go as heavy as 2 millimeters or 5.5 ounces.
Mm-hmm. Another thing people think about calfskin, because of it's so associated with dressy footwear, they always ask, doesn't calfskin scratch easily?
No more easily than cattle hide. I mean, the reality is the dermal layer isn't as thick on the surface, so maybe it's a little more delicate, but it's going to show a scratch just the same on cattle hide as it will on calfskin.
Is there a certain kind of calfskin or kind of finish or tannage or something that someone should look for if they want something that's not as scratch prone as a really dainty, delicate stuff?
Chrome is always going to be a little bit more durable, but I don't know that the manufacturer is going to highlight the fact that it's a chrome tan versus a veg tan. I don't think you're going to notice a distinct difference, but I think you're going to get, in my opinion, you're going to get more durability out of calf because of the tighter fiber structure.
That's true. Although a lot of it has to do with just how thick it is and how it's tanned and all the other things.
True, there's a lot of variables.
And the last question people often ask about calfskin, they assume, especially if they get like shoes made of calfskin, that they're going to stretch more than cowhide because it's a baby and it's the skin's designed to get bigger than it is. Are my calfskin shoes or boots going to stretch more than my other boots?
No, you will not get any more expansion within the lasted leather. It'll be, if anything, less because of what we were just discussing regarding the fiber structure. I think it's gonna wear as well or better than cattle hide.
If I give you a gift voucher for a new pair of boots and it can be made of any leather, would you be going with calf or cow?
I'd go with calf. It's a premium, exceptional product. I mean, it's literally a luxury article that it's becoming more rare to get. So there is a premium to being able to have a calfskin boot because veal is no longer a very viable volume portion of available hides in the market. They're there, but it's not what it once was.
Yeah, and it's got this unusual combination of being both more consistent in appearance, as in like less rugged looking, while being actually stronger than the cowhide and the more rugged looking leathers, right?
Correct.
Which is an interesting balance that you get with calfskin, which is why it might be worth considering for your next leather goods purchase. And if you happen to be making calfskin stuff, you should get it from Gallun Leathers, best calfskin producer in the whole world.
Amen.
If you're making leather goods, come by here. Otherwise, that was just a very educational look at calfskin. Thank you very much for your time, Ed.
Hey, thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me. That whole thing will seem more professional when it comes out.